In this lesson, we're going to be talking about alpha or transparency in our color swatches. If you want to follow along, you can either open up color and transparency 1.html from your working files folder. So now what I'd like to do is I'd like to take this box and make it slightly gray, but I also want to be able to see through it. To do that, I'm going to use RGB or HSL, whichever one you'd like, but we're going to also add alpha to that. Doing that is actually very simple. Background color, RGBA, A stands for alpha, and I'm going to make it be black 000, but it's also going to have some amount of transparency to it. We'll say it's only 20% opaque. You don't need these spaces here, but I do find that they often will make it more readable. Now, if we go over here and refresh, you'll see that we have a gray box, but it's not gray exactly. It's actually a lot more flexible. Right now it's on a red background, and so it appears to be kind of a dark gray-red color. If I instead change this to be a green background, now it's a darker green color. The reason for that is that it's 000, which is black, but it's only 20% opaque. Now that's fantastic. Before, we would have to do something like this. Instead of FCC, we could do DAA. Now that looks pretty darn good, but the problem is when the background changes, it doesn't look good anymore. In other words, previously we had to make this happen by illusion. We would have to calculate out a color value that appeared to be somewhat transparent with the background shining through. Now that we can actually do it well, let's just do it this way. We could also say background color HSLA. Now let's think about HSLA. Hue, if we're making black, it doesn't matter what hue we're at. So I'm going to say 0. Technically, that would make a hue of red. But the saturation is going to be 0%, and the luminance, the brightness, is going to be 0%. That'll make black. And then the opacity is going to be 0.2, or 20%. You can see nothing seemed to change because these two right here are equivalent with each other. If you can make it work from a browser support standpoint, you can now use HSLA or RGBA, whichever one you'd like. And to see what browsers support it, you can of course go to caniuse.com, search for color, and scroll down to CSS3 colors. You can see that it works on pretty much every browser out there, except for IE8 and below. Now, of course, with production code, you only want one of these, so you can delete all the other background colors if you'd like to.